Americans with Disabilities Act, as amended, the ADAAA, provides protection for individuals with disabilities. The Amendments Act of 2008 broadened the definition of disability, meaning that more employers are having to provide reasonable accommodations for employees who disclose disabilities. Because there are so many medical conditions that may meet the definition of disability, it's important for HR professionals to understand how to engage in the ADAA's interactive process. There are a number of steps in the process. Let's look at them now. Step 1. Recognizing the accommodation request. The process begins when the employee with a disability makes a request. The request can come in various forms. The employee does not have to say the words reasonable accommodation. If an employee mentions that he's having a problem related to a medical condition, determine if the employee is making a request for an accommodation. Step 2. Gathering information. Most often this begins with interviewing the employee and understanding his need. Documentation should be sent to his physician in order to gather more detail on what accommodations will help the employee to be successful in his job. Ask only for information that is necessary to provide the accommodation. Step 3. Exploring accommodation options. Once you understand the employee's limitation and how it impairs his ability to perform the essential duties of the job, then determine several options for a reasonable accommodation. Step 4. Choosing an accommodation. Determine the best option for the accommodation. There may be times when the employee's preferred accommodation is above and beyond what is necessary to mitigate the work limitation. For example, an employee may have a condition that causes him to have difficulty concentrating when there's external noise, and his accommodation request is to be moved to an office. But providing a noise-canceling headset will satisfy the need. Implementing the accommodation. Ensure that the accommodation is successfully applied. If the accommodation involves equipment, it should be appropriately installed and available for the employee's use. Also, notify supervisors, managers, and other required stakeholders to make them aware of the accommodation. Step 6. Monitoring the accommodation. Finally, make sure to periodically check in with the employee to ensure that the accommodation is successful and make any necessary adjustments. If you need to speak to me or any of my coworkers in the Advice and Resolution team, give us a call, email, or chat anytime.